since my last article. A lot of young kids seem to think that this is a great idea for a prank, but authorities are taking the creepy clown phenomenon very, very seriously because in recent days, the threats of violence have become much more chilling. Individuals posing as creepy clowns on social media are openly naming specific schools that they plan to target and are threatening to commit horrific acts of violence. This may sound like an interesting plot for a Hollywood horror movie, but in real life, these kinds of threats have very serious consequences. On Monday, several schools in Alabama were placed on lockdown due to threats from a group known as Flomo Clown. A number of Alabama schools were on lockdown Monday after a series of Facebook postings from users posing as clowns threatened local children with violence. Posts on the group's Flomo Clown warned that clowns may show up at 2 schools in the Birmingham area, and one student alerted local police. Fortunately, authorities were able to identify the people that were making those threats. The police discovered that 2 juveniles and 1 adult were involved. Now, I can see the juveniles having no common sense, but an adult being involved in this, really? And so far, 1 arrest has been made in the case. But that isn't the only example of creepy clowns threatening to commit violence at schools. A short-lived Facebook account under the name of Bingerman Clownford issued a profanity-laced warning to 5 specific schools area on September 17th. The following comes from the local Montgomery News Report. A newly created Facebook account named Bingerman Clownford began posting about visiting Montgomery schools last week. This weekend, Clownford caused a stir on social media with a post listing which Montgomery schools would be visited. The post included vulgar language and threats of violence and began the day after Flomaton Police Department arrested 2 juveniles and an adult for a similar threat that caused a soft lockdown. 1 order of fried rice and egg roll.
Yes, Hank. What's going on, buddy? Yeah.
Okay, let's pause for Doc talking to Hank, see what happens. Okay, we'll go on and let Doc and Hank catch up. I'm the South Lawn Clown. I saw all of you today at school. I watched you all walk home. I know who you are. If I don't get you tonight, it will be Monday. Sick Clownford posted on September 16th. As I stated above, law enforcement authorities have taken these threats very seriously. And considering the terror attacks that we've just witnessed in New York, New Jersey, and Minnesota, they would be foolish not to do so. Elsewhere in Alabama, security was tightened at a middle school in Calhoun County because someone on Facebook threatened to come to the school and start shooting. Extra deputies patrolled Sachs Middle School in Calhoun County after someone threatened on Facebook to start shooting at the school. A 16-year-old Pleasant Valley resident was arrested and charged with terroristic threats. Since the suspect is a minor, the name was not released. Calhoun County Chief Deputy Matthew Wade described the incident as troubling. It's really disturbing in today's world that people are doing this to scare others, he said. We're going to find the people who did this. There are consequences when you make threats. In Etowah County, a social media post hinting that a clown visited Rainbow Middle School and John Joe's Elementary caught the authorities' attention on Sunday. Police presence was increased at the schools on Monday, and a Gadsden City High School freshman was questioned by the Rainbow City police about the matter. Chief Jonathan Horton said the department is collaborating with juvenile probation and the Gadsden City school system to figure out how to move forward in the case. No prank should ever be taken. No prank should ever involve threats of violence. Many young people don't realize this, but anonymous threats of violence can actually get you charged with terroristic laws. Our department, I prosecute with a heartbeat. I don't let them get away with it. We take a proactive instead of a reactive situation.
I'm here.
Good.
Finally.
Did you get a call from Bill?
Me?
Yeah.
Or who? Huh?
You'll probably get one later. Anyway, it's probably on your voicemail. Anyway,
Bill who?
Clinton. He's been
Are
calling
you kidding?
people. Huh?
You're kidding.
No, you'll get it later. Anyway, no prank should ever involve threats of violence. Many young people don't realize this, but anonymous threats of violence can actually get you charged with under terrorism laws. So you may think that what you're doing is quite funny, but it could end up landing you behind bars for an extended period of time. Some sick individuals have gone beyond threats and are actually terrorizing people in person. Just check out what happened in Brighton, Alabama on Sunday and Monday. In Brighton, a suspect dressed as a clown jumped out of the bushes and tased two teens down the street on Sunday. The incident happened at 8 p.m. on Huntsville Avenue near King Street. Authorities said the suspect fled in a white van similar to a Chevy Astro van. Brighton Police Chief Ray Hubbard said the children and their parents are still a little terrified. Since the investigation is ongoing, anyone with information is asked to call the Brighton Police Department. In another incident on Monday night, an 18-year-old was arrested in West Blockton after jumping in front of a car while wearing a clown mask. Similar incident just took place in northwest Georgia, but in this instance, the creepy clown was actually holding what appeared to be a knife. In front of a car holding something, that's called a hood ornament. The first thing, that's called if they jump, if they jump out in front of a car, they're what you call a hood ornament.
I agree.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Right, I understand.
To me, it's called roadkill.
Yeah, well, hood ornament, yeah. I was trying to be polite with a hood ornament. The first incident.
You got to be careful about the roadkill because it might end up in Granny's stew.
Yeah. And if you ever need a recipe for roadkill, just get it on the internet and Google it. They got some really good recipes, yeah. And the little gravel.
The one thing the internet can't do, it cannot provide the smell from something like that. That's enough to get them.
Well, and the little pieces of asphalt, that's cracked pepper. Yeah, you just tell the people it's cracked pepper. They won't know the difference, yeah. The first incident involved a creepy clown chasing a couple of kids from a store parking lot back to their home, reports show. According to the complaint, the person dressed as creepy clown and wielding what appeared to be a knife allegedly chased her 17-year-old daughter and an 11-year-old niece from the lot of Mapco convenience store back to the Fernwood Drive apartment, Officer Mitchell Moore said. Was it just a prank, or did this creepy clown actually intend to do harm to these children? Fortunately, we will not find out. It was probably just someone trying to pull a prank. But if authorities would have caught him with this individual, they may have thrown him in jail. Because you never know what you're up to. With each passing day, more photos of these creepy clowns are being posted on social media websites. Facebook user named Jamie Hill just posted a picture of a creepy clown that is getting a lot of attention that was taken on the side of the new highway in London, Kentucky. This is the description of Jamie Hill. So I was a little scared to post this because I didn't think anyone would believe me. Kelly Hill told me that one of her friends just seen a clown here in London, and I was out tonight and I was headed back home on 192 and saw this. Now, it's not really a good picture because I didn't stop. There were people behind me. Seriously, this clown thing has gotten out of hand, and someone is going to get hurt. Please share this with people around London or you that are here. As I stated in my previous article, dressing up as a creepy clown is quite an easy way of unbalanced individuals to get media attention. And so we are likely to see this trend continue to intensify. And of course, Halloween is quickly approaching, and
Yes.
creepy clown costumes are always popular this time of the year. But this has long since stopped being funny. The threats of violence are becoming increasingly disturbing, and it is only a matter of time before someone gets too far and people start getting seriously hurt. So let us hope that the trend fades away and people start moving on to other things. Michael Snyder is the founder and publisher of The End of the American Dream. Michael's controversial new book about the Bible prophecy entitled The Rapture Verdict is 3 reasons why you should read it. Read Life in the Spirit, get to know the Holy Spirit, learn to enter God's presence, hear God's voice deeply. Has God called you to be a leader? Ministry Today magazine is the source of that Christian leaders who want to serve with passion and purpose to turn to. Anyway, let's go on to...
Alan, can
Yes.
I break in and ask a
Yes,
question?
you may. Sure.
Have you seen the magazine called Voice of Prophecy?
Yes, I have.
Okay, I just opened about a couple hours ago a letter from them, and what you're talking about is big city evangelism. And there's a series thing called Preach It resource package that's available for those pastors who wish to take advantage of that program, leaving leeway for the pastor to add whatever he wants. And I'm amazed we're talking on the same subject.
Yeah, this here is it's a subject that is catching everybody's attention. Charisma magazine, like I say, is where I got this from, and one of the pastors that's with Charisma, been under his teaching before. He's a dynamic speaker. Going on again with another portion of Charisma News, and this was from September 19th. Creepy clowns are terrorizing children, parents, and schools all over America. There's another picture of a creepy clown. And an epidemic of creepy clown sightings is sweeping America, and authorities don't know who or what is behind it. In some instances, with horrific expressions painted on their faces have been spotted standing on the side of the road, lurking near the edge of the woods, or just roaming about town staring at random people. But in other instances, there have been reports of clowns actually attempting to lure children with gifts, and there have even been some reports of children running away from the creepy clowns that were chasing after them. While doing research for this article, I came across recent creepy clown sightings from South Carolina, North Carolina, Ohio, Florida, Wisconsin, California, Alabama, Georgia, and West Virginia. This is truly a nationwide phenomenon, and many believe that it will get even approaches. The creepy clown trend appears to have begun with a very disturbing case at an apartment complex in South Carolina. Donna Arnold, one of the people residing at the complex who received the letter, she said, was called the Greenville County Sheriff's Office to come out to Fleetwood Manor after her son and others reported seeing clowns behind the basketball court. I thought my child was seeing things, Arnold said. And then the next day I had about 30 kids come up and say, "Did you see the clown in the woods?" Community activist Bruce Wilson said he is getting involved at the apartments to make sure his children are safe. Even the sightings turn out to be harmless. Authorities say that their investigation of the incident found that the clowns were approaching children with the intent to persuade them into the woods further by displaying large amounts of money. At least one child that personally interacted with these clowns testified that they had candy. They would give it to them if they came there. So there's no, it leaves a lot to the imagination. It doesn't leave a lot to the imagination what these people are going to lure the kids into the woods for. Whether people are dressed as clowns or not, attempting to abduct children is no joke. Unsurprisingly, this case made national headlines, and at the point it appears a whole host of copycats started to come out of the woodwork. The following is how an article in the Week summarized what happened next. A week later, a boy at an apartment 10 miles away reported seeing a man in a clown mask in the woods near his home. Later that night, a boy at the apartment just 3 miles from Fleetwood Manor reported seeing another clown. That apartment also sits on the edge of a wooded area. There was another local sighting the next day. The following day, a woman told police she saw a clown standing outside a Greenville laundromat simply staring at her. By then, the clowns had begun to mobilize. The previous day, a 14-year-old boy in Columbus, Ohio, said that a man wearing a clown mask chased him with a knife while the boy was walking to his school bus stop. Less than a week later, on September 5th, 2 students in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, claimed the clown was offering candy as long as they would follow him into the woods. Later that night, a woman in the area claimed that a clown tried to coax her into the woods, except this one was carrying a machete. He wore black gloves and a black tie. The next morning in the nearby town of Greensboro, a man said he saw a clown in the woods behind his apartment, yellow polka-dotted shirt and blue pants. Since this time, the creepy clown sightings have not stopped, and one of the most alarming incidents of all just took place in McDuffie County, Georgia. It was this morning at 6:30 when we were leaving the house, said Cameron Frales, who saw the clown. But as Frales and his neighbor, Hannah Rice, started walking, they noticed something. I was standing over there, said Rice, and I was like, who's that guy following Cameron? We saw a man with all black on, clown mask and red wig, said Frales. They said they saw at least 2 men dressed in all black coming toward them behind 2 trailers as they started running. But that isn't the only report of these creepy clowns trying to chase down children. Here is another one from Georgia. According to the police report, the woman said the children told her they were leaving the community center and it was getting dark Monday evening when 5 people dressed as clowns and wearing masks emerged from a white panel van and began chasing them. The 48-year-old woman also told police she saw a white panel van slowly driving past her home prior to the supposed incident at the community around the corner of McKinley Drive.
I'm very interested.
Hey, Hank, if you're going to have a side conversation, you need to mute yourself. A lot of copycats out there may be doing this sort of thing as a prank. The law enforcement authorities are beginning to take this threat very seriously. In fact, Time magazine is reporting that 2 schools in Alabama were put on lockdown on Friday due to threats from a group known as Flomo Clowns. 2 southern Alabama schools were put on lockdown Friday because of threatening Facebook messages and emojis. If you don't know what an emoji is, that's when you text somebody with a little face, either a smiley face or, and they got these really weird emojis that can really be scary. Posted on how now deleted page of a group called Flomo Clowns. The sinister Facebook message says going down tonight, followed by revolver emojis and I love kids. The parent also contacted the Flomaton Police Department to say her child had been sent messages, threatening messages by the group. The entrances to Flomaton High School, which has around 400 students, and Flomaton Elementary School, which has 300, were locked, as well as internal doors. Local officers and sheriff deputies secured the school grounds and searched the area. I think this is another example of how sick and twisted our society has become. There are a lot of unbalanced people out there who get a thrill from spreading terror, and the initial clown stories have inspired them to capitalize on the trend. If you're able to take a photograph of some video of these creepy clowns, please feel free to contact your police department. Killer clown costumes are always extremely popular during the Halloween season. I have a feeling that this wave of terror is only going to intensify as we approach the end of October. A creepy clown that was taken on Simmons River Road during West Virginia has gotten a lot of attention on social media. It was originally posted by Karen Mann Hicks on Facebook. Hopefully this creepy clown craze will soon fade, but it is a quick way to deeply disturbed individuals to get on the news. That's your 15 seconds in fame. And so it seems likely that there will even be more copycats. But those who attempt to dress up like creepy clowns and terrorize children should be aware that police all over the nation are taking this very seriously, and arrests will likely be made at the first sign of trouble. My founder and publisher, The End of American Dream, we already covered that. Let's go on to...
You say that that we can't really do anything unless they do something for us, to us.
Well, if you see them, I would call the police department as soon as you see them, and just let them know, because there's no really way of knowing if they're just out there to scare somebody or they really mean harm to somebody. So my best advice is, if you see a clown, call the police. Take a photo, on your phone or whatever,
Yeah.
and call the police and let them know what's going on. Tell them where you saw him, what he's dressed like or she's dressed like. That's the only way this is going to stop. This is from the Guardian.
But it already terrorizing people already. They're terrorizing the kids, and then the families are terrorized already. I mean,
yeah, and it's costing the taxpayers money, because the police are trying to catch these people, and they're putting officers at the schools and trying to chase these people down when there's other crimes going on in the communities. So it's taking police officers away from more important things. But
Yeah.
This is very important at this point in time. Clown sightings hysteria in the U.S. reaches a fever pitch. Police are pleading for the end of evil clowns. The clown lives matter much was called off. Now you had Black Lives Matter. Now you got groups that are calling for clowns' lives matter. And schools are banning clown costumes while some stores are sold out. Here's a picture of a creepy clown. Let me go ahead and make this a tab bigger.
Well, Bozo was pretty creepy too, as well as Ronald McDonald.
Yeah. Sending the clowns, don't bother. They're here goes the Stephen Sondheim song. And now the hysteria over creepy clown sightings has been rising to fever pitch in the U.S. since August, and it's spreading internationally. But the situation is so absurd, anyway, that the police departments are pleading with the attention seekers to stop dressing up as evil clowns to scare people. While a woman organized a peace march that had been scheduled for Saturday night in support of clowns. However, it turned out that she herself wears some pretty scary clown makeup and had decided to call the event off. Said Clown Lives Matter. When the crass echo of the protest movement over police killings, unarmed black men triggered an avalanche of protests on social media and personal attacks against the organizer, who identifies herself on Facebook as Nikki Sin, abruptly canceled the event. Sin had at first declared herself amused, laughing out loud, literally being called homophobic and racist for using Lives Matter. Ha ha, woohoo. She posted on the social network beneath a picture of herself grotesquely smiling with green hair and smudged eye makeup, seemingly as a version of Batman's lethal nemesis, the Joker, and was followed by a further post on Thursday after she had canceled the event, reportedly because threats saying "kiss my" and "I'll march alone." And these are actual clowns, and professional clowns are decidedly unamused. It's not appropriate, said Dick Millihan, the last director of former Ringling Brothers and Barnum Bailey Clown College.
Yeah.
Was based in Florida and closed in 1977, and half of the veteran clown duo Slappy and Monday. My livelihood could be affected by the latest bout of clown impersonators scaring people, but that's nothing on the scale of the painful struggles being protested by Black Lives Matter, someone being shot or disliked because of the color of his skin, he said. Meanwhile, every amateur bozo is going to come out, and that's going to be what America sees, reinforcing the stereotype that being a clown is just about a big wig and face paint. The term has been trending on social media, and overall clowns hysteria is refusing to go away. Clown lives matter. Oh my God, I really don't know. That's a good idea, said Lorenzo Pisoni, a dramatic actor who originally began performing as a clown when he was 2 years old and has just completed a documentary, Circus Kid, about growing up in the ring. The controversy even reached Ronald McDonald when McDonald's announced it was giving the clown mascot a break until the wave of hysteria passes. Here's a sad Ronald McDonald. And while some schools are banning clown outfits from Halloween celebrations this year, costume shops are making a killing, and demented clowns are likely to be out in full force during trick-or-treat rituals and parades this October 31st. We're selling out right now. We have no clown costumes because this whole clown thing that's happening in the news. You'd better look online, a cashier at the New York branch of Party City said on Wednesday. People across the U.S. are now variously being interested in fright wigs, red noses, and weapons. Film clinging to the back of moving buses, perpetrating hoaxes, causing school lockdowns, scaring the daylights out of people, and exporting the craze to at least Britain and Australia. Milhan alias Dick Monday is at first offended even at being asked about the hysteria, having been clowning for more than 40 years in a profession where slapstick and self-mockery belies a finely honed art form. If I dressed up as a nun and stand on a street corner with a knife, it would seem odd if nuns then had to come out and defend their profession, he said. But he acknowledged that in the world of clowns there are many paradoxes. In history, there have been very powerful. You think of the court jester speaking truth to the king. Shakespeare's wise fools as the key character, the European tradition of masks, the era of silent movies, he said. From Shakespeare, Puck Hingler's Fool, and the riddling gravediggers in Hamlet uncovering the skull of the jester, Yorick, to Charlie Chaplin and Buster Keaton. Today, top clowns are steeped in a proud but enigmatic tradition. American circuses emerged in the 18th century, and the traveling circus took off in the 19th century, performing in gigantic arenas where clowns exaggerated their outfits and makeup to help audiences follow their comedic expressions and gestures more easily, Milhan explained. The 50th Smithsonian Folklife Festival paid tribute to clowning and other circus acts in 2017 with exhibits on the National Mall in Washington. Since President George Washington attended John Bill Ricketts Circus in Philadelphia in 1793, circus arts have intrigued generations, the festival website states. The multi-talented clown Dan Rice became a household name in America in the mid-1800s with his performing pig, Sybil. He ran for president unsuccessfully, obviously, but coined the popular phrase, jump on the bandwagon, after inviting future President Zachary Taylor onto his traveling circus cart. Legend had Rice even inspired Uncle Sam's aesthetic. But the traveling circus in both Europe and the U.S. always had its vagabond side with performers. Circus hands and animals crammed into wagons, sideshows drawing pickpockets and brawlers, life on the road attracted runaways, and no doubt the odd fugitive. Shaking that stigma is easy, said Milhan. His clowning partner and wife, Tiffany Willie Slappy, said the clown is much misunderstood art form. Being ridiculous is a very serious business, she said. Slappy graduated from New York University Tisch School of the Arts, and she and Monday toured with the Big Apple Circus. They train clowns and straight actors and now are often employed to perform in schools or cheer up children in hospitals. What the kids call her Dr. Slappy. She's currently writing her master's thesis on the effects of humor on healing. It upsets me, it really hurts, she said, of the new wave of clown hysteria, and hopes it will die down after Halloween. But some people are drawn to the dark side of everything. If you put that makeup on a certain way, it's scary. I'll grant you that. Vocational clowns are not only up against amateurs and imposters, a new film version of Stephen King's horror novel. It is underway with an evil clown who preys on children as well as everyone's phobias and fears. And TV's American Horror Story series has twice recently invoked a real-life serial killer, John Wayne Gacy, a former clown who murdered at least 33 males in Illinois in the 70s. Distrust of clowns is deeply entranced. The makeup that can be unnerving and the archetype of a jester operating outside of the normal rules of society. If you take that one step further, you can draw that character as a killer, and then you're off to the races. A figure that is adored and revered is co-opted, and professional clowns have to reassure people and separate themselves from the crazy people running around. It's exasperating, said Pisoni. They also acknowledge that there is an inherent distrust of someone who has always smiled. But while scary pretend clowns hide behind their garb to frighten people, Pisoni said professional clowns flip on their hands. They are vulnerable, bearing their souls as they attempt to be tricky art, making an audience laugh. The new documentary, Circus Kid, which screened at the Woodstock Film Festival on Friday and is showing on Doc NYC in New York on Monday, is based on his biographical play, Humor Abuse, charting the trials and tribulation of growing up in a circus. Pisoni began to get the attention of his distracted father, clown Larry Pisoni, who created the Pickle Family Circus in California in '74. He describes how beneath the costume, the gags, and the acrobatics, his father was a depressive who dealt poorly with his mental demons and had a nervous breakdown in '87. As the famous Smokey Robinson lyric goes, ain't too much sadder than the tears of a clown. Lorenzo Pisoni fled the circus once when he reached adulthood and became a dramatic stage and screen actor. Performing drama is a lot easier than comedy, he pointed out, and he'll be distancing himself a long way from the clown lives matter. It's making a lot out of something that is not funny, he said. Okay, I got one more, I believe. Okay. We're going to go discuss a chain store that has common sense. Okay, this was as of today. This was as of today at 9:27 this morning. Creepy clown masks removed from Target stores amid recent scares. Okay, let me make this just a tad bigger. Okay, let me come up here. Okay, Target has removed scary masks from store shelves and its website. Given the current environment, we have made the decision to remove a variety of clown masks from our assortment, both in stores and online, Target spokesman Joshua Thomas said. The announcement comes after multiple reports of people dressed as clowns attempting to lure children into the woods. Over the past few months, people wearing creepy clown masks have been accused of terrorizing the public in 20 states. Target said they began pulling the masks last week and removed several masks from its online Halloween store. You'll find clown masks there, but we made the decision to pull back on the number, the spokesman said. Clown costumes and less frightening masks are still being sold in stores and online. clown mask sales are up more than 300%. Get that? They're up 300% from a year ago, the same period online. Halloween costume chain Halloween Express told Eye Opener on October 4th. In the top 10, 8 of them are evil clown masks this season, whereas last year 5 out of 10 were evil. Butler said. Eye Opener has reached out to national Halloween pop-up store chain Spirit Halloween. They declined to comment on their sales, citing a policy not to comment on ongoing police investigations. Walmart and Party City didn't immediately respond to Eye Opener's response for preliminary sales data. So some of the stores are getting on the bandwagon and realizing that this is something that, with Halloween coming and all this stuff going on, that they have to do something to curtail it. You know, you're going to have people going trick or treating with their kids, and in some states that have concealed carry and open carry, you're going to have parents out there because of this carrying weapons to protect their kids and the neighborhood. And somebody comes jumping out of the bushes at somebody with a machete, somebody's going to get shot.
Yeah.
And it's going to be, you know, this is something that is going to be on the news everywhere. The Christian newspapers, like I said, Charisma had it in it for the last 2 weeks. And it's a scary fact that this is something that these idiots need to realize, that they're creating problems for people, and it's going to turn back to bite them. But it's taking police away from really need police presence to deal with this stuff. But like I say, if you see any clown sightings in your area, call the police. Take a picture with your phone if you could. If they start chasing you, you know, protect yourself, because you have no clue what these morons are up to.
Yeah.
But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and open it up to comments, and if we have any, if there's anybody that's a professional clown that's listening tonight, we're not dogging.
I'm a professional clown. I just don't get paid for it.
Well, you have a you have a built-in mask.
Well, that's true.
Okay.
I have to keep it trimmed every now and then. Well, it's not my
Well, you
nose,
know, I'll tell you what a scary mask is going to be. Hillary the Clown.
She don't even qualify for a clown. That's degrading clowns. Even the scary ones. Ugh.
Right.
You know, that's what I'm really afraid is someone is going to get shot or killed. Because,
well, and it'll be a toy machete.
Well, everybody is so leery about what's going to happen because they're not doing anything except for running after people with knives, which is a very scary thing, for one thing, for the person it's happening to. But how do you know that someone's just going to see that and go after a person and beat the ink out of them?
Well, and that's the thing. Intentions are, and you know, at that point, and that's what's really bad, because it could be just somebody that's messing around, or
some adolescent teenager that has nothing better to do.
Well, yeah, but the adults are getting involved also.
Well, I know, but see, that's the creepy part.
Yeah.
When you start having these people luring people into the woods, yeah, automatically we go to, well, it's going to be for sexual assault, and then probably to kill them, to keep them quiet, you know, and all this, because we have all these kind of scenarios of this kind of thing happening time and time and time again. Only usually it's some kind of an abduction where they got abducted from the house or on their way to school or whatever. And this is just another way to get the child or whatever without having to go through all the security checks and everything else of going to the school and tracking the kid to and from school in their house and, you know, so on and so forth. But a lot of times it's a relative that knows the routine, or a close family friend that knows the routine and knows the child. So,
yep, people are getting really goofy with this, and with Halloween coming up, unless people wisen up, it's going to be a mess. That's why, you know, when we had smaller kids, we always took them to the church trunk or treat, where, you know, it was in the church parking lot. You knew everybody there. You know, you knew nobody was going to poison your kid with razor blades or, you know, putting rat poison in the chocolate or whatever.
yeah.
But nowadays, you just don't know what some moron is going to do to get his 15 minutes or 15 seconds of attention.
Well, and yeah, I've been to a lot of those different things too. They call them harvest festivals and stuff.
Harvest festivals, right?
Yeah, and bobbing for apples, and there's all kind of fun stuff to do other than going out trick or treating.
But like I say, somebody comes.
But see, putting those things on is a lot of work, and it takes community, and, you know, people don't want to they just don't seem to want to go to all that trouble and expense and this and that, and you know, somebody's going to bring it. Oh, what about the insurance and risk and blah blah? You know, give me a break. I get so tired of hearing some people and their lame excuses for not doing something.
Yep. You know, you can have a church with 500 people and the same 10% are always doing the same thing.
Yeah.
They're the ones that are actually active doing something. Everybody else is either complaining about why things aren't getting done, but don't want to do anything to help.
Well, it seems like you always have the old grumps that
See,
you know, I don't know what their problem is, but everything has to do with risk management. And therefore you can't do a blooming thing. Of course, except for what they want to do. Whatever they're wanting to do, everything's all, if the gloves are off, everything's fine. No risk whatsoever. Yeah, right.
Well, I'm afraid that someone's going to get hurt, and it's probably be an innocent child or something that, if not one, more than one.
Yeah, just something to be aware of.
Is it going to peak on Halloween? Is there something in the works that we don't understand or that we're not catching on to?
The law enforcement, the stuff I've read, the law enforcement community in these towns are gearing up for, you know, for this to pick up and explode on Halloween, because a lot of the people think it's funny, and Halloween brings out a bunch of weirdos. So
well,
they're
gearing. It's going to be a full moon.
Yeah, and they're gearing up for, you know, a lot of the clown sightings and stuff. That's why they're telling parents and grandparents and school officials and people out there that are with the kids to pay attention to what's going on around you. You know, when our kids did trick or treat, even in the town we lived in, even our community, before they ate anything, when they brought it home, we sorted it out. Anything that wasn't in wrappers went in the trash. Anything that looked like it was partially opened went into the trash. You know, people were putting razor blades in apples,
Yeah, I
and you
remember
know,
that.
all kinds of crazy stuff. So if it looked like it was tampered with, it went in the trash. I don't care how great it was or how bad the kids wanted it; they weren't getting it.
I
If
was
it
8 years. I was
huh?
8 years old, and there was people were bringing to their kids to the hospital, and they would X-ray the candy,
Yep. The
and they
hospitals will
found,
do that.
yeah,
The
glass was
hospitals will
shoved
do
in.
that.
Yeah.
Yep. You got to take a proactive attitude towards this stuff and not reactive. Because reactive is going to bite you in the rear end. And that's why our department, my philosophy, my police chief's philosophy is, if I can find out who's done it, we're prosecuting. If you make a threat on Facebook or Instagram or any site like that, and I find you, we're prosecuting. And I have not lost a case yet, knock on wood. It's hard to beat 8.5 by 11 of what you put down, your screen name, and who you threatened, and what you said. So you got to take this stuff seriously, and that's what the police are saying. Take it seriously. And half of the school shootings could have stopped if people would pay attention to what was on social media and what people posted. Because half of the stuff was out there, people just thought it wasn't anything to be worried about. And next thing you know, you have a school shooting. And that's the same thing with this situation. You've got to take it seriously. Any other comments?
Well, this whole Halloween mess is a pagan thing anyway.
Oh yeah, but this year it's gotten out of hand with this.
Well, sure.
You know,
but
it's gotten,
and like it's been already said, you know, some of these people possibly are kids or, you know, teenagers with nothing better to do, and they may have, like I was just alluding to earlier, some kind of fake machete or fake, you know, some look-alike weapon in their hand, and somebody's going to react to it in a way that's going to get them killed. And
somebody comes jumping out in front of you holding something that looks like it can hurt you. You're going to do what you have to do to defend yourself and your family, especially if you got kids out there with you.
Oh, I know. But then they're going to make a big thing out of it because, oh, well, they were unarmed. Well, it didn't appear that way. And see, that's the thing is people go out there and do some stupid stuff in front of the police or under police, you know, threat or whatever. And, you know, it's just amazing how stupid people can be, where they don't listen, they don't follow orders, and, you know, of course you've got a something there, that a case of mental illness. You know, they're deaf, they're to anything of any authority. You know, they've probably been raised that way. You know, to where whatever was said in the home just doesn't, by the parent or whatever, was just never packed any punch. You know, it's just like around here. You know, I've said some things about, and I've asked people not to do things that they continue to go and do. And I can't bring some consequences like I would like to. Of course, my frying pan would get dented probably, but my cast iron one. But you know, I want to. It makes me turn kind of where I sound really violent and just flying off the handle. But no, it's just common sense too. You know, don't let your kids run out in the mud and then run all over the place inside the house. You know, especially if you don't want a muddy floor. There's just a lot of things that's just common sense that people don't get.
And you know, you brought up a good point. And when you do try to give them corrective criticism, they look at you like you're stupid.
Oh, I know. It's just like people that continually park in front of the driveway. And it's like, unless you're unloading or loading, you don't do that. And it's like, how many times do we have to tell you? You know, and it tends to be a certain ethnic background too. And of course you can't use the N-word, but you know, stop acting like an N-word.
Okay. Yeah, we need to watch it. Well.
Oh, I know, Negro. Okay.
Well, okay. Well, still
you know what I'm saying. You know what I'm getting at. What I'm saying is you know, obey. It's just like the people that drive in the dark rain and whatever, and don't turn their lights on, or in the dark, the early morning hours, the late night, you know, the early evening hours. Turn your lights on and use your turn signals. You're going to get rammed.
Yeah, one thing we don't. Yeah, but the one thing we don't want to do, we don't want to have somebody that's on or listening to us for the first time think that we're being.
No, but see, what I'm saying is stop making the stereotypes that people have valid.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Stop validating the stereotype. You know, like being like the other N-word. You know, give me a break. It's so simple. There's plenty of space on the street. Just because you don't want to park on the other side, you know, which is where you're gonna have to turn your car around to go out anyway and go where you're gonna go. So just park on the other side of the street so you're pointing the other direction. You know, I mean, it's so simple. Yeah, but people just don't use their head. They don't think.
What's your blood pressure up to right now?
I have no idea. Nor do I care.
Or 83. That was just about an hour ago.
But you know, I'm just saying, it's just getting really off the hook, off the chain, ridiculous how stupid people can be, and then they expect that you treat them like they walk on water.
Well, people have just gotten to the point to where nothing matters. It is, you know, and they are doing what they want to do.
Oh, and of course,
they don't care.
Their Christian response is, well, Jesus took care of it all. Give me a break. You know, we don't have to pile on a million and one more sins in our life because Jesus took care of it all. Jesus took care of it all to where we don't have to fall.
Right here.
See, you know,
Hey, Hank,
it's not just that Jesus is there to catch us when we do fall. He's
No, I
there
know.
to help us
Stop.
prevent the fall.
right.
You know, and it seems like we just don't get it.
Well, you know, it's like Mike Warnke used to say, if you do the do's that are in the Bible, you don't have time to do the don'ts.
Right. Well, and too, it's like, you know, the whole Chris Rock thing on Black Lives Matter type thing or whatever that he did, that comedy thing. You know, there's just a lot of things you just don't do when you're pulled over by the cops, whether they're white, black, or Asian. You know, you don't make a gun with your hands or whatever and start taking a stance like you're getting ready to shoot somebody. You know, there's just a lot of things that you just don't do, and you don't talk back to the officer in a disrespectful and whatever way. But so of course some people don't give the officer a chance to say hi, boo, or whatever. They just blow their head off. And you know, I understand all that too. I mean, and I understand why the officers, you know, approach the way they do sometimes. But you never know, and that's the thing too. On their end, you never know what's going to happen when you're approaching a car. It doesn't matter if they're what color they are. If they're dressed in a suit, they could have that gun pointed right at your face, right at your head, so they blow your head off as soon as you get up there to the window.
You know, the thing about it is, what gets me is every time these news reporters sit there and go, it's a routine traffic stop.
Yeah.
There's no such thing as a routine traffic stop. Because you have no clue if that's Bonnie and Clyde in that car or the milk people.
Well, from the standpoint of it was just a taillight out, or they were going too fast and they were getting pulled over for a speeding ticket. In that sense, yes, it was just a routine traffic stop.
Well, no, it's not. And I'll tell you, give you
in a sense. But see, that's
well. Here's the thing. You know, somebody's in a getaway car, backs in and breaks a tail light. You pull them over. You don't know if that person just robbed the
but see,
bank
that's exactly. But see,
whatever.
that's what I'm saying. On the surface, it looks and appears like it's a routine thing, and for all intents and purposes, it is. But because it was used as a getaway car, and the perpetrators are still in the car, you don't know that. You didn't see them rob the bank, or it wasn't caught on tape, or you know, you didn't get the memo about their license plate or any kind of description of the car or whatever. You know, and you just walk up to the car and blam. You know.
See, I had a friend of mine in Miami Beach Police Department who was killed like that.
Yeah.
He had just gotten off shift. He was a motorcycle cop. He was going back to his house and didn't hear the call that they just had a bank robbery. He turned the corner. One of the bank robbers shot him underneath the helmet, knocked him off the bike. And he wasn't even on duty. He was, you know, he was already cleared and just happened to be at the wrong place at the wrong time.
Well, right here in Vallejo, just last night or something, a guy was walking down the street. He saw the police. He walked over right across in front of the police car and shot the officer, and then took and drove the car away a ways and abandoned the car. And some of that, you know, walking in front of the car, he was caught on tape.
Yeah. On
the dash cam. And so, you know, a lot of criminals are getting very brazen. And
it's
and so, you know, these shows like what's the name of it? Person of Interest.
Yeah.
It is becoming a necessity to have cameras everywhere. you know, in order to document and somehow hopefully identify people of interest, or, you know, suspects, criminals, the guilty parties, um, you know, in some of these different crimes and stuff that they can get caught on tape for. You know, I totally support the whole idea of the body cams, but I also support citizens being able to videotape the police too. I don't care how much they want to protest. You know, there's been plenty of bad cops getting caught on tape too, beating people while they're handcuffed.
But see here, the thing about that is a lot of the people that take the videos don't get the whole thing.
Oh, I know, but I don't care what is going on. When you're are in handcuffs, no more beating, no more. You know, the fight is over.
I'll give you that. Well,
you know, and especially when you take it, they're taking a baton, and I mean,
yeah,
full swing down on them.
Yeah, but there's times when there's times when you get somebody on the ground handcuffed, and if they're on PCP, you're not going to control them.
Oh, I know, but what I'm
and at that point, you get another officer to hold him down, and you know, try to get the shackles on his legs and arms the best you can. You got to use 2 sets, and have the ambulance take.
Exactly.
Go with the
but see, that's the thing is, this guy apparently was not on any drug. Just because of the color of his skin or where he was from or whatever, he was getting a beating. Because,
yeah,
you know, and see, that's the thing. I don't care what your biases and whatever are, they need to be out the window when you're in that uniform. You're
right
there to protect the U.S. citizen, the taxpayer, etc. But you must not cross the line when it comes to even the life of the criminal that you've got in custody. You're supposed to protect them too. Once
right
they are convicted, then they'll be dealt with according to the law. But you know, you become the criminal when you start, you know, abusing that power.
Right. I agree with you on that.
And you need to be shackled and beaten.
Yep.
But you know, the thing is, when you boil it all down, you know, we're never going to see true justice until the Lord comes. And you know, that's the thing is, are we putting ourselves in right standing with Him? And are we allowing Him to work in us to keep us in right standing with Him and the Father?
And that's the key issue, is that Jesus and us doing what God wants us to do.
That's the whole thing. That's the bottom line. And you know, it doesn't happen overnight. And I understand that, but it's like, weren't you raised by parents? But see, that's the thing is, some of these people weren't raised by both parents. They had maybe just, they lived with the father because he was easier and he wasn't around much, and so they were allowed to just basically run the street and raise themselves and go out and you know, do things that got themselves in trouble. You know, now they got responsibility that they should have known how the bees and the flowers work so that, you know, they don't get themselves in trouble. But
Yep, I agree with you. I agree with you. That, you know, breakdown of these created a lot of these issues.
well, yeah, it's the breakdown of the family, the breakdown of just a lot of things. I mean, communication between parent and child. A lot of parents do not know how to communicate to their children.
Well, there's a lot of parents that don't know how to communicate with each other, not
Yeah.
alone with the kids.
Well, yeah,
You know,
and that's why that's one of the reasons why they end up in divorce.
but the other thing is, there's no patriotism, there's no respect for anything at all,
yeah,
and there's a lackadaisy attitude that these kids have, and it starts at
Well-
2 years old. You can see a
Well-
2-year-old
well,
totally being defiant towards the parents and an adult.
sure, but take this mess that Kaepernick did has been doing. If he had done that back in 50 years ago, he would have been shot.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Now,
Some
why
veteran
can't we do that now? I mean, give me a
Yeah.
break. You stand for the flag when the national anthem. Period. End of discussion. If your legs are cut off, we understand. You can't stand. Okay, but and so that's the only exception. Otherwise, you stand and you place your hand upon your heart, or you have the salute, and that's it. There is no other
Right.
acceptable behavior. And that includes a
We've got-
president that doesn't know how to salute, even with his hand on his heart, or a regular military salute. As commander-in-chief, he ought to be shot. But see, that's the thing. We allowed an illegal alien to be president, so we asked for it.
Let's not get involved in the in that political aspect, the realm of it.
But I understand there's the protest, but there's other ways to protest. There's other ways to make your issues known.
Oh yeah, there is.
That are more appropriate and more focused, and therefore would get better attention. So stop. Are you an American or are you not? Show some patriotism. Show some respect for this country and for the flag. It has nothing to do with the police.
No, it has to do with the people that died. You're back in World War I, Civil War, World War,
Whatever,
American,
to secure
and whichever war.
to keep this country as
Freedom.
a country.
Right.
See, to make it a
Right.
sovereign nation.
Yeah.
See,
But you can't fix stupid.
well, if you shot him, that'd fix it. See, that's the thing. It's just like, I know this sounds cruel, and there's all these bleeding hearts of this, that, and the other on the issue, but used to be any child was born with any kind of a lot of these different deformities and challenges that they have today, they would have just been let to die. It used to be that way. Yes, there's cases where that would be like a tragic mistake. But because there's been people that have shown great intellectual prowess and giftedness and whatever. Okay, because even though they were born with some kind of genetic malfunction, whatever. But see, that's the thing is what's going on there with that gene pool? Is that what's being is that what's propagating the majority of our next generation? You know, it kind of seems like it.
Well, we're raising a generation of some people that have no
Morals.
no morals and have no work ethic and don't want to do anything.
Well, yeah,
And-
and there's a lot of it's a lot of the degeneration of the of everything. You know, genetics, whatever, and whatever. You know, just everything is degrading or degraded to where it's like it's not like there's not much to work with to get anything out of it.
Yep. Good discussion. Anybody else have anything they want to jump in and share? Garfield, Hank, Doc, you got anything you want to jump in for a few minutes?
Well, I think Garfield or somebody dropped off, but I think that maybe Hank is caller 3. I'm not sure. But you know that's the thing is like we were saying earlier, you know, God is our only hope. Jesus is our only hope. He's the way out, you know, through and above and whatever all of this. And eventually all this is going to be ashes, dust, bad, you know, not even a memory. It's going to be wiped away. Thankfully, there's going to be too much good to be enthralled with. You know, there's not going to be any inkling of all this, and I look forward to that kind of a time.
Well, you know, we all do. We all look forward to Jesus coming back and getting, you know, straightening out this mess. Yeah, Doc, do you have anything?
Hank got knocked off the meeting, but he's coming back.
Okay, all right. Do you have anything you want to?
Apparently, he got knocked off the meeting at the same time, but he dialed back in.
Okay, you got anything you want to share?
Yeah, let me just throw a couple of pennies in this thing too.
Okay.
Everything Lyle says is absolutely correct. It's just unfortunate seeing what we've allowed. The liberals knew that the change they would make would infuriate others. To make the people that are infuriated or angry look bad, they've installed political correctness. So that when a person is, you know, is criticizing one of these people or whatever, they are, they're made to look bad. Oh, look at them, using harsh language, hurting people's feelings, and all that sort of thing. And I'm sure some people listening may think that Lyle was overboard in his criticism of people like Colin Kaepernick. But the fact is he was not. Political correctness has molded and shaped even conservative people's attitudes, so they think that if people are soft-spoken and all, they must be better than people who use harsh language. And that's not the case. It means they're very good phonies who know how to sound like they're compassionate, but really couldn't give a fig about anybody else. And so, you know, Colin Kaepernick will say, I'm doing this to point out the problems between the races. What does the flag have to do with the tension between races.
Or the black and the blue.
Well, I got a bulletin for you. It has nothing to do with it.
Exactly.
The fact is the flag has absolutely nothing to do with this, but it's part of the liberal strategy of focusing on their woe is me philosophy of life to get people feeling guilty, sad, and sick to cave to their wishes. And I hate to say this, but the truth is, ever since the NFL, the liberal elements of the NFL have catered to these people, the attendance at NFL games and the attendance on TV has dropped over 20%. That doesn't mean the rest are not as offended as the others. It means that some people are so mad that, that's what they're doing. They're just not watching the games. I know I'm not watching any games. I just pick up the stuff on the net, who completed how many passes, how many yards, all that sort of thing, instead of watching the game. And I don't care to see people behave like that. Their behavior is offensive, deeply offensive, but thanks to political correctness, they're the ones who look like heroes, and we who are critical of them are painted as the villains. So congratulations, Lyle, for telling it like it is, and it's just unfortunate that in the world we have today, that speaking your mind is no longer acceptable.
Right.
That's no longer acceptable unless you say what makes liberals happy. Then it's okay.
And of course you got to do it very nicely and calmly.
Yeah, I'm sure Jesus kept his voice down when he was flinging the slabs of tables all over the place in the temple, and with the cracking a whip chasing people out of the temple. I'm sure he spoke softly.
No. He carried a big whip and he did not speak softly.
Believe me, Jesus, the real Jesus, would never pass the politically correct test.
Nope.
Never pass the politically correct test. But that's just the way it is. And we just have to understand that this is the world we live in now. And even when we're talking about drug addicts and drug addiction, immediately people feel sorry for people who are addicted. I feel sorry too, because I'm a minister, and I have compassion for all sorts of people. But at the same time, the responsibility involved. You chose to start doing it. You're still doing it even though it's hurting you, and you don't deserve special consideration. What you do need is treatment. That's what you need. But you don't see what they've done in order to get votes is to make the criminals look like victims so they don't have to feel guilty for their crimes. And this is what's been going on in America. So sorry about all of that, and I'm glad you spoke up, buddy, and I hope that everybody who's on with us tonight understands. As a Christian, you hurt for people who are hurting, but you also realize that they have to take responsibility for their actions, and that's the way it works. So,
well, for every action, there's an opposite, positive or negative reaction.
Yes, equal and opposite reaction. That's Newton's third law of entropy. For every reaction, there is an equal and opposite reaction.
Yeah, he did really good. I liked his cookies. The Fig Newtons, they were good.
Fig Newton. Those are Wayne's cookies. I think that's the Newton that makes the Fig Newton.
Oh, okay. Wrong Newton.
The other guy, the Englishman, I don't think he he was a specialist at baking cookies. What do you think? You don't think so?
There's a perfect, there's a perfect example of what I was talking about earlier.
Huh? Huh? Huh?
All I know
Exhibit
was you have a good time.
Oh, I couldn't
All I
resist
know is
that.
we're having a good time. And I want to thank Alan for putting tonight's program together. Just because Lyle got upset doesn't mean that Alan is guilty of inciting a riot.
But no,
You know, for months, instead of realizing that Trump is the voice of all the angry people out there, not the cause of their anger, we just found out today that the same fella who did the sting at Planned Parenthood about all the lying and stuff they were doing
yeah,
has now got it on video, perfect evidence. It's not Trump, it's Democrats at Trump rallies who are there for the express purpose of causing a riot.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
They cause violence there, first of all, to disrupt the meeting, and second, so they can make Trump look bad, seeing
Right.
his words are inciting a riot. No, you have liberals' disease when you traded in your brain for a sack of spinach, and that's why that stuff is going on. I mean, it's just, Jolyn said more like a bag of rocks or a bucket of hair. How's that?
well,
If you're liberal, you trade your brains in for a bucket of hair, and you know, but you blame everybody else because of it. See, they have to do that because that's the only way to bring society back to its senses. Is to act the way they do. So
well, they've also
You know-
got things on tape of fraud on the Democratic side
oh,
too.
the election
Right.
fraud is already.
Yeah.
And then guess what? The the establishment Republican lawyers today, in an effort to cover up the trouble they're causing Trump right now, by doing, the Never Trump crowd is out there trying to throw the election Hillary's way. In an effort to cover their tracks, said, no, it's impossible to rig an election. Sure. It's impossible to rig an election. I'm so sure of that.
Well, that's how the dead people vote.
Oh, well,
No,
I know.
This is the Never Trump crowd. These are the conservatives who traded in their brains for a bowl of Rice Krispies.
You know, it's the Kool-Aid. It's the Kool-Aid factor.
Yeah, well, they all drank the Billy Crystal Kool-Aid because he lost his
Too bad
mind.
it wasn't the Jim Jones.
And what's the other dude that's so outspoken?
DiCaprio?
Glenn
Yeah.
Beck appeared to be normal for so many years.
Yeah,
Was a closet lunatic,
he got radical.
radical.
Yeah.
He's lost his mind. And guess
Him and
what?
his conspiracy
His whole-
theories.
Whole empire is collapsing because of it.
Yeah, his conspiracy theories have taken him down.
He's in big trouble.
Yeah.
So anyway, I want to thank you again for tonight's program, buddy.
Hey,
And
no problem. Yeah.
you know,
We'll be
look forward
back.
to next week.
Yeah, we'll be back next Monday night. And Lyle, tell the people what's happening tomorrow night.
Studying the Book of Mark.
Yeah, we just got underway, and we got, you know, just wonderful things happening at the study. So thanks again. Somebody
Yeah,
gonna
Hank-
pray, buddy?
Hank, you on?
Yeah.
Yeah, why
I'm
don't you go
here.
ahead and pray? Why don't you go ahead and pray?
Father God, as we come to the end of this portion, this session with Alan, first of all, we want to thank you for putting all the thought into his head so that he was able to present to us what we needed as grandparents and parents even. We pray, Father, that we might assimilate this material and apply it in our own lives where we're at, and in so doing, we become more and more like the people you want us to be. We ask this in the name of your Son, and for his sake. Amen.
Amen. We wanted to thank everybody that was on live with us and everybody at home TV. Everybody have a good week, and we'll see you next Monday night at Preparing Great Grandparents.
And hopefully there wasn't any dead on with us.
Oh. Hang on. Let me wake the guy up next to me. Hey, you still alive? All right, you guys have a good one. I'm going to call it a night. All right.
Yeah.
Bye.
Night.
Bye.
Bye.
It was called a night a long time ago.
Well, yeah, and they clanked a lot.
Well, just remember that, Joe, this is all part of the wussification of America. But Hans and Franz used to call the girly men's. They're so politically correct. They're girly men's now. They can't be manly anymore. John Wayne is a bad guy in their eyes. Meanwhile, to the rest of us who still have our brains left, John Wayne's a hero. Get it?
Yeah, just don't use his toilet paper.
Don't you ever throw rocks at the Duke.
Just don't use his toilet paper.
Rough and ready, yes.
Well, it doesn't take off of anybody. It breaks apart before you get it.
At that note, I'll see you guys later. I'm out of here.
Okay.
Bye.
Costa loves Easter. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.
You figure out camera roll on the burglary?
Uh-oh.
Bye.
Okay, it is being recorded. Okay, Good night, guys.
It got all cut on tape.
Yep, it's all on tape. The NSA has all the evidence they need to accuse and convict us of not speaking like little flowers. The idea is to get everybody to speak like little flowers so you can't stand up to the government anymore.
I know.
We're not allowed to say that. Oh, my goodness. I mean, you call the government into question? Into question? How about tagging those people for the buffoons they really are?
How about calling them on the carpet and on the in front of the firing squad? You know, you're
I got
fired.
news for you. See, here's the reason why I don't get as worked up as I used to, because more and more I realize God is saying, I got this.
Oh, I know.
Let them get away with pulling the wool over people's eyes and all that good stuff. And I'll tell you what, when they have to finally face me, I'll make them pay.
Yep.
Oh, that's one court they can't rig. They can't get the media to support them. They can't make dirty deals with the FBI and other parts of the government. They can't rig an election. You can't do that with God.
Yep.
When the time comes and they face God, blam. They're going to just hit the lake of fire, and they're going to sizzle like a piece of Crisco melting in a frying pan. Gone. Horrible. It does not make me happy, but I know the Bible says, do I not hate with perfect hate those who hate you, O Lord? You know, the Bible says that.
Yep.
Did you know that?
Yep.
And you know who said that?
Nope.
David.
Ah. Part of what made him after God's own heart.
Oh yeah, that's part of what made him, because he just could not stand, the ungodliness.
Well, and see,
Ungodliness, if you will.
that's what it is with me. I mean, it's not just the ungodliness, but it's just common sense stuff. Just simple respect and courtesy and just
Courtesy is gone. In its place is phony baloney. See, remember what the Pharisees did? The Pharisees created a religion where they could put on a show, and their show would make them superstars in the eyes of the people.
yeah.
That's political correctness. Hillary stands there and